Let's get rolling, guys. Welcome. This is part two in the three-part series I'm offering and doing on how to finally prevent and get control over nagging injuries while staying fit to enjoy the activities we love for years and decades to come. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Madison. I'm the founder of Health by Ratio, and my team and I consist of licensed physical therapists, functional health coaches, movement coaches, corrective exercise specialists, strength and conditioning coaches, etc. And all of us work as a holistic team to help our clients bridge the gap from recurring pains and injuries, nagging tweaks, deterioration with age, that kind of stuff, and move them toward not just health, but also progress them toward their fitness goals so that they can bridge the gap between injury rehabilitation and actual performance and fitness. And our whole mission and what we're passionate about is giving other people their own control over their own health and how their body is. So today we're going to uncover what you need to know about how to gain self-control over your injury recovery and prevention, while at the same time getting the best workouts in that burn the most calories and develop the most functional strength. There's a connection between these two things that we referenced actually in yesterday's video that you need to know about. And if you guys, whether you're watching this live or whether you are watching the replay of this, if you saw yesterday's video, part one of this three-part series, give me a thumbs up in the comments below. And if you haven't checked out yesterday's video, check it out. It's posted down below. Feel free to watch that replay really quick. You can still watch this video. It doesn't matter if it's necessarily out of order, but there are some good pieces that we're building off of from yesterday's video. So if you want, pause this, watch the first video and come back. But either way, make sure to check that out. Now, let's get started, guys. I want to go into point number one. I want to talk about what we call the recurring injury cycle. Now, most of you guys know exactly what it is, even if you don't know it by name. You've experienced it. The recurring injury cycle is this. We get excited and decide it's time for next week, next month, whatever, we're getting in shape. It's time for us to achieve those fitness goals. So what are we going to do? We're going to start getting to the gym. We're going to start doing our morning workouts. We're going to start playing more tennis or going for more runs. We're going to get our mileage up, whatever it is. We get motivated to get started and get back into our fitness routine. Then a few weeks go by, maybe a couple of months. We're getting into our groove. We're feeling good, and something gets tweaked, something gets injured. Often it's a re-aggravation of an old friend, something that we've hurt before is hurt again, or a lot of times from compensations and stuff like that, things that we talked about from yesterday, we might have something new show up, something else gets, quote unquote, some other weak link in the chain gets broken, so to speak. And what happens? We have to stop. We have to take a break from our actual activity, the fitness activity that we're enjoying, and instead we have to heal up. We got to rest. We got to go to the doctor. We might go see a third-party treatment or practitioner. Maybe we have to do a few weeks of physical therapy. Maybe we got to see a chiropractor a couple of times a week for the next month or two or three. Maybe we need to get some deep tissue massage work or acupuncture, whatever. We got to pursue third-party treatments to help us heal. Now, those treatments are typically great for that very purpose, for helping us heal. But did they actually help us solve the root cause of the problem? Like if I get a chiropractic adjustment, is that teaching me how to move any differently than I did before? Other than like maybe I was out of alignment and so my body was a little bit kinked, like that might improve it a small amount. But what about before I was out of alignment? Like, is it if how I was moving or how I was exercising or how I was standing or sitting or whatever was causing my body to get pulled out of alignment or causing my body to tighten up or causing that injured area to have to overcompensate and eventually give way? Did my treatment, did my adjustment, did my massage, whatever, did it teach me how to move? Well, no. And it's kind of like if I gash open my leg and I need to get stitches, and that treatment there is going to help me heal that gash. but did it solve the issue of what caused the gash in the first place? Like, is it going to prevent me from getting gashed again? No. Like, obviously, if I cut myself again, I'm going to have to get more stitches. Same thing goes for these treatments, and it's often this way because the third party treatments are either limited in what they can do, like a lot of physical therapy is limited in terms of how many visits that they have and how much time they have with each patient. A lot of clinics are overbooked. They don't have as much time as they want. So because of that 4 weeks or 6 weeks they have with someone, they can only correct so much. So they got to work on the prescription of whatever the injured area is and get it healing as much as humanly possible. That's a necessary step. But they're not going to then continue to work for months on end with us after we've healed that area to solve the root causes of the problem. That's few and far between. And like I said, like chiropractic, massage therapy, acupuncture, those are all great on the healing side, but they're not set up to teach us how to move any differently. So it doesn't solve our root causes. And actually, to illustrate this, a story that I recently posted about this was I did a free video assessment with a physical therapist on the other side of the country. We do free video assessments for anyone that needs help and is looking to understand how their body moves. And so he's no exception. And obviously, being a PT, we were able to geek out a little bit because he understands how the body moves just as well as I do. So we were able to analyze what was going on with his body. And what he was dealing with was a hamstring injury that he had occurred, I think it was like 9 months prior. And he had not been, like, he'd been able to help it feel better here and there, but then he'd retweak it and he didn't know what was going on. So we went through some fundamental movement patterns, checked out his walking gait, how he was sitting down, standing, how he was squatting, lunging. He was an active individual, really like in great shape, like very, very active individual. And it was pretty glaring on some stuff that was happening at his ankles and some things that were happening around the front of his hips that were causing that his hamstring to overcompensate and get pulled taut and keep getting re-aggravated. So we talked about it, and I was like, look, you just need to do X, Y, and Z on the mobility side. You need to do A, B, and C on the strength side, and your hamstring's going to fix itself. Like, you're good to go. And he loved it. Really, actually, was interested in our program itself, and he wanted to work with my team and I. And I was like, look, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think I would love to work with you, but you don't need us. Like, you know what to do. You like, this is a fairly cut and dry thing that's going on with your body. Like, we work with a lot of physical therapists and chiropractors and acupuncturists and nurses and personal trainers and yoga instructors. Like, we work with a lot of health and fitness practitioners in our own program, along with general population active individuals too. But like, we work with those, but they're normally extreme cases that are dealing with a lot of different things in their body, not just like one easy injury that they can recover. So like, look, you don't need us. We got more bells and whistles than what you need. Just do this stuff and you're going to rehab, man. And I before I let him go, like, he was really appreciative of my honesty and like all that good stuff. But before I let him go, I was like, look, I gotta ask, why don't you think you were able to figure this out? Like, you can analyze the body, and you said that you had other PTs at your clinic take a look at it, and that you guys like just kept treating the hamstring. Like, why weren't you able to figure out what was going on? And this was his quote. He said, I think we've gotten so used to treating the injured areas because that's what the prescriptions require. We don't regularly look at all of the full body movements like this, or at least in as much detail as you did. So because it's beyond the scope of what we're there to do. So my takeaway from this is that not that he's a bad PT or that his clinic is a bad clinic. This is actually really typical. My takeaway is that we ourselves need to take control over how our body moves. We have to stop relying on third parties to fix us. We got to take responsibility for it. So that to me is point number one. Now, I'm curious, anyone watching this live or the replay, is anyone here had an experience of getting a certain type of treatment, maybe physical therapy, chiropractic, massage, whatever, and to have you feel better, maybe within the next few hours or a couple of days or whatever, but then after a couple more hours or a couple more days, we revert back to how we were feeling beforehand. Has anyone felt like they were kind of more chasing symptoms instead of solving the root causes? Feel free to type down below if that resonates with you and give me a nod in the comments. All right, point two, this is a great point, is that our body is a movement-oriented machine. And what's up, Mike? Good to see you. Our body is a movement oriented machine. It is designed for movement, constant movement, unless we're sleeping. And to illustrate this point, I'm actually going to read an excerpt real quick from a biomechanist named Katie Bowman. She's awesome. She has multiple books out, but the one that I'm quoting here is called Move Your DNA. And she's talking about here the comparison of how we move in today's day and age versus how our ancestors moved with 100+ hours of weekly activity in a variety of different motions. Like they were on the ground, picking things up, grabbing things, like hunter-gatherer kind of thing. So running, walking, hiking, climbing, like they were going all over the place. And now what we're doing in our daily lives, and she's trying to use that comparison in talking about the issues of chronic injury and illness. So her quote, I assert here that in most cases, physiology is responding exactly as it should to the types of movement we have been inputting. Instead of thinking of ourselves as broken, we should recognize our lack of health as a sign of a broken mechanical environment. Then she quotes, but wait, you say, I do exercise, so what about me? The prevailing understanding of exercise includes the belief that exercise of any type improves the distribution of oxygen to all tissues, but that's not the case. Movement of any type improves the circulation, i.e. oxygen and waste removal, only through the muscles that are being used for that specific movement. So over time, overuse of your body in one particular pattern makes strong tissues next to weaker ones, which creates an environment where injury can slowly develop. This is what we talked about yesterday, where many of our forms of exercise, many of our postural positions cause us to be over dominant in certain parts of the body, creating stronger muscles to weaker ones, an imbalance from left to right or front to back, and also tighter tissues to mobile tissues that create imbalances left, right, front, back. Those are what we are trying to focus on correcting as soon as humanly possible that allow us to get in control of how our body moves and feels on a daily basis. And to illustrate this, a really quick example is one of our clients from a number of years ago, John Sedbury. He was in his 50s, was super active, like from when he was a kid. He was always every week surfing, skiing, kiteboarding, and he was strong as an ox, great shape. But his knees were starting to deteriorate really quick, and his lower back was starting to go out on him regularly and giving him chronic pain. He was nervous that he was going to have to stop these activities that he loved doing so much. But when we analyzed them, we realized, hey, with these activities, like you're surfing, you're holding a squat position. You're skiing, you're holding a squat position. You're kiteboarding, you're holding a squat position. You're getting really quad and hip flexor dominant. You're not actually extending your hips very regularly. Your glutes haven't developed. They're very underdeveloped in the comparison to the rest of your body. So we started working like crazy on his glutes and his hamstrings and his core, and we did it in functional ways that translated to how he was moving throughout his daily life, so that when he got to his activities that he loved, his fitness activities he was passionate about, he was able to stabilize his knees and his lower back. And now, many years later, he's still enjoying those things with the health that he wants, just because we were able to balance out his big butt muscle, what should have been strong, to his powerful quads and hip flexors. All right, now, last point number 3. To achieve our fitness goals and get in better shape, it's not about just getting sweaty or getting more sore or burning as many calories as possible. The reason I point this out is because when I start talking to people about like doing dynamic warm-ups or cool downs, or are they doing any mobility work on the, are they doing any foam rolling or trigger pointing or whatever? We're going to get into more of that tomorrow, but are they doing any little bits of maintenance on their body away from their favorite activities? More often than not, people are saying no, or I do maybe a minute or two here and there, or I do like the same couple of stretches or whatever. It's minimal. And the reason why is because they view it as, well, I'm using this, I have only an hour or 45 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever to get a workout in. I got to be efficient. I got to get sweaty. I got to burn calories. Well, my argument against that is if you just prioritize the fitness, just prioritize the activity, and you don't cut out any time for the maintenance side, don't cut out any time on the mobility side, the functional strength side, then what's going to happen? Well, we've already talked about it. We're going to get hurt. And if we get hurt, we're going to have to stop. We're going to have to rest. We're not going to be able to push the body as hard. So that means we might burn a bunch of calories for a couple of weeks, but then the next week or two, while we're resting and rehabbing and all that kind of stuff, we're going to burn next to nothing. So in the long run, it doesn't help us get in better shape. And then the other aspect of it is when we actually take, say, 10 to 20 minutes to, like, a couple of times a week, to correct our body, to move it better, to stabilize it better. Not only do we stay healthy so we can be consistent about our workouts and our favorite forms of fitness, and not just consistent a week in and week out, but we're talking month in, month out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out. We're also able to push the body harder and exercise it at a higher level, or push it in our event or sport of choice or whatever at higher and higher and harder levels, because of this health that we've cultivated, this foundation that we've developed. So guys, that was the last point for today. I want you guys to comment below on what you've tried to get healthy in the past. Have you done physical therapy, massage, acupuncture, chiropractic work, maybe something else? And did anything work for you? That's what I'm curious about. Write that in the comments below. And then make sure to come back tomorrow, also at 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to be talking about the hidden solution. And it's actually 3 solutions that we're counting as one, that's so effective for balancing the body back to full ranges of stable motion while being as active and as fit as we desire. And remember to check out yesterday's recording of part 1 if you haven't already done so. Look forward to seeing you guys then. Have a great rest of your day.